Okay, welcome to our lovely little corner of the internet. Thanks for hanging out today. I will be talking about Volume 4 of Overlord called The Lizardman Heroes. And here is the description. An army of death approaches a peaceful Lizardman village, an army of undead deployed by Nazarick. Its commander is the sovereign of the frozen river Cocytus. Cocytus. The Lizardman coalition shall face the great tomb of Nazarick. The weak are meat the weak are meat, the strong shall eat in the merciless world that awaits in volume 4. This was interesting to read. I wouldn't say that this is the top of my favorites, but I will say it was interesting to see how this was up. So we got to see, which is usually my favorite part of any book reading, another part of this world. So this really serves also for world building, where we got to see other people. Turns out there are subhuman species, and the lizardmen people are, technically subhumans. And the way this works in this book specifically is we have Albedo giving him an idea of what to for his experiments about creating undead. And he basically is like, okay, you can use, instead of humans, like a good way to do that is to use subhumans. And she tells about the village that Cocytus found, and they decide to go in occupation. And basically Cocytus is the commander, and he gives him like a couple of weaker undead, and the whole point is to conquer the village. And I find that I love when we step away from Ainz, because we get to see a bunch of stuff that's happening, and we got to be involved in the strategy and all that stuff that came with the Lizardman village. And I loved it. I like the characters, and I can't remember this dude's name. I kind of remember like a couple of names, but I like the warrior character who owned, I think it's called Frostbane. There are a couple of different there's a bunch of different characters in this volume, in this very short volume, and I like all these characters. I think they were really interesting, and I think the society of the Lizardman was very interesting, and the tribe aspect and all that stuff. I really enjoyed that a lot. I also really like the way that for some reason, now the whole mating call became a thing. Now I didn't I there was a very awkward scene in this book. I will say now that there was an awkward scene where Ainz, wanted to see what the lizards were up to, and he was looking for, I think, the warrior in Crushed Lulu, and ended up seeing them having sex, and Mare and what's her name? Bello? No. Well, Mare and the other kid, yeah, they were both there. So it was super weird to it's like, how am I supposed to explain to a couple of kids what the hell just happened? So it was awkward and very interesting. Also, we get to see the after effects, a little bit of volume 3 with Sheltier, where she feels kind of guilty that she attacked Ainz and all that stuff. So she feels guilty, and she feels she's drinking a lot and feels kind of guilty, and he ends up eventually agreeing, though he doesn't want to punish her. And the punishment was not what he expected it to be. Well, or at least it was not the result he wanted it to be. I'll just say that. I'm not going to describe the punishment. But it was interesting to read to see her character kind of go there. I'm hoping she gets more focus in other books, because I really want to see how else it's happening. Because this is the book that sets up more, or that hopefully sets up more character development. The reason I say this specifically is because this is the book where we have Ainz expecting more from these creations. When he sent Cocytus off to conquer the Lizardman village, he gave him a weak army. He gave Cocytus a weak army specifically because he wanted him to kind of realize like what to do. He wanted him to do stuff like on his own and kind of realize like it's not enough, so to ask for what he needed and so on. So it's interesting because he's starting to expect more from them instead of him just telling them what to do. So it's that book, and it should hopefully include some character development later. So I'm hoping we get a lot more focus on the NPCs, and not just Albedo being in love with Ainz, which just is odd but also hilarious at the same time. So this is the book that kind of sets it up, and Cocytus didn't realize it, but Demiurge did. I think Demiurge did, and I think it was really interesting to see how he did, because he's kind of like a strategist, I think, and it's really interesting how Demiurge saw it, but also like Cocytus had not, and due to that he lost, and the way that it's handled at the end, and he's like, they talk about like what did he need, what could have been different, what and this and that, and now Cocytus realizes he might have to think a little bit more, and it is also the way that it's working out now. It's also him receiving opinions from the other NPCs. He also, like Albedo, is now allowed to give opinions on what on what he decides to do, and what his actions are. He's like, I've been waiting for an opinion for a while, you know what I mean? So he is also, that's a part of a thing. So I think it might be a more cohesive unit soon, but those are my predictions, but I'm not sure. I did enjoy this, loved it a lot. Honestly, it's all I have for this book. I think it was really interesting. I like what happens, and I like the way this ends, especially when it comes to Cocytus. I enjoy the way it ends, and it's lovely. It's very lovely. And with that, you guys, next week Sunday I will be reviewing the 5th volume of Overlord. So I'll be seeing you soon. Until then, let me know what you think about this volume if you've read it. Let me know your thoughts. I'm super curious about it. Let me know any other book you might want me to review. And if it interests me, I will do my best to review it. Or even if I'm able to read it, I'll do my best, basically. Until then, consider subscribing to my channel and my blog. Check the description for the link. And I will see you soon. And until then, consume stories. Bye.